Nepal Sports Summit at the top of the world.
Somewhere in, I think, Mexico, when Maradona was doing his hand of God moment, then the live transmission that the Nepalese, limited number of Nepalese saw was not a live transmission. But we believed anything was live for us. It was a half-an-hour delayed transmission from Balambu. We have a satellite transmitting center there. We used to download stuffs there, carry it on tape on a motorcycle, go back to the studio, put it in the machines and do it the way we got it. Cut to today, we talk about broadcast, we talk about television itself being evaporated in many ways. Nobody watches TV, or those who watch don't remember the last time they watched things on television. But the relevance of sports is ever growing. I think that is the only upperbad of broadcast television where sports is still watched live. People still tune into television signals to watch live broadcasts of different sporting events. And Joy has experience in India, and I think India is probably our closest emulation center where we learn things from. What is your experience of sports broadcast and the exponential growth of the revenue that is generated in India?
First and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's my first time in Nepal, but I'm planning definitely to make sure that it's not my last. Let me just, before I come to your question, I think it's a very relevant question about sport broadcast in India and how it goes. Let me explain to a lot of people why sport is very different from any other business you're running. And it's one of the most powerful vehicles, mechanisms for advertisers, for everybody. And I'll give you a very small example. I teach in IIM Calcutta and IIM in Ahmedabad, which are two of the most famous management institutes in the country, perhaps among the best in the world. And I go to a classroom and I tell them and I ask them, what do you support a football team? So, every one of us, I'm sure in Nepal also, football is very big, Premier League football is very big. I say, which club do you support? And somebody says, Arsenal. And I turned on and I said, okay, how long have you supported Arsenal? And they say, 7 years, 8 years ago. These are students. Then I asked them that, you support Arsenal and somebody else supports, Tottenham Hotspur is looking for Arsenal supporters to convert. And there is a plan where they are willing to give you 5,000 Nepali rupees to convert, say, 5,000 Indian rupees to convert. Would you convert? So they think about it. And they say no. I said 10,000? No. 50,000? No. 1 lakh? No. Now think about it. And then I asked them, you're an Arsenal supporter, does the club know you? They say no. Does the club even know you exist? No. Yet you are giving a lifetime of loyalty to something that you do not even know, who doesn't even know you exist. And that is true, that is the power of sport. In America, where marriages and relationships don't last that long, they say your relationship with your sporting team, according to a credit card, is about 2.5 times more than your likelihood of your relationship staying with your spouse. That means you're more likely to change your spouse than you are your club. And that is why sport is such a powerful medium. And what broadcast does serve for sport is it takes it to every corner of the world. And broadcast today, thanks to technology, is redefining the way we look at sport. So what it does mean is two things are happening. What you will see a boom of is 20 years back, 30 years back, nobody would have known a Premier League club in Nepal. Now they'll all have favorites because, football is very popular in this part of the world. Cricket, they'll have favorites from many countries in the world. So the big global events are becoming very, very big. But also what is becoming very big now is the technology is there to make even small events, smaller events which you couldn't telecast before, you can put them out. And therefore, now there is two very clear streams of broadcasting. The World Cups, FIFA World Cup, Cricket T20 World Cup. Nepal is, there's a whole country is waiting to see how well Nepal does there. And they have a fantastic team. I hope they do well there. And the FIFA World Cup, which they'll just be watching because it's the biggest spectacle in the world. But there's space for that. But there's also now space for local leagues because they can now put it together and thanks to non-linear, get it across to exactly the right people it needs. So today when an advertiser advertises, say, in a Nepali, in a Premier League for volleyball in Nepal, they say, I am reaching 55% of women in these cities. These are the kind of places I'm reaching. Here is why you need to advertise with me. The data is now giving you that advantage of going out and reaching them. And that is why I think today broadcast is so much more powerful and so much more meaningful.
Thank you. You reminded us of a very favorite sport in our part of the world, in our country, that is volleyball. I think we have done away with a generation, couple of generations of the greatest volleyball players in the world unnoticed because we never cheered them up. We never thought it was a sport enough to get broadcast space. We never thought it is a sport that we need to promote and it would actually yield global results. But still, volleyball probably is the most popular game in the country. Per capita, people are interested in villages to go, watch their local heroes play volleyball, or, just try to play the ball boy next to a cliff. I would still say the most popular because of the space that it needs. Volleyball, I would still say, is the most played game. I'm trying to come to the other gentleman here who has, Dheeraj has captained many corporate sports fraternities. In India, I think cricket was your lifeline. Cricket it continued after your independence, the way it has grown till date. How did cricket continue to be the number one game? Because ours was volleyball earlier, and it never became the number one game. Was there any reason attached to broadcast or the publicity cricket got when it deserved? Or there was the money flow that started into cricket and sports in India that made cricket the most relevant game in the country?
So I've been fortunate enough, been working in cricket for 25 years now. I set up the IPL, I worked in 21 World Cups, I've been tournament director for about 10 World Cups. But I was also fortunate enough, because of IPL, I helped set up the Kabaddi League, the Hockey League, the Football League in India, the ISL, and also worked in the Badminton League. And you could see the clear difference in these leagues was mainly because of the way they were broadcast. The way it was consumed by the public. And also what happens is, if you look at cricket, it's just such a well-planned sport. I mean, you have 6 balls and then you have an over. The minute over is done, you have advertising space. When you're watching football, it's 45 minutes of pure action. So there's no, I mean, it's great. I mean, football, most of us watch football all the time, but there is no space for advertisers, because for 45 minutes, you're watching the game. And yes, it is important, but with cricket, you get these breaks, then you have, with IPL, they started the timeouts, and timeout was just a commercial deal. When I was growing up, I'm still not that old, but when I was growing up, hockey was our number one sport. But you look at hockey today, again, it's like football. There is no space for advertisers. There's no space for the sport to grow. With cricket, you could innovate. With cricket, you could, the integration between broadcast, sponsors, and the youth was just, I think it just hit the right spot. And that's why cricket is what it is. Also making heroes. You know, cricket is everywhere. So I read somewhere that, you know, when young athletes, when they see themselves on a screen, whether it is TV, social media, then sports is no longer a dream, it becomes a pathway. And cricket is the only sport in India which is even grassroots, even your domestic cricket is being televised. Joy is a seasoned, I worked a lot with Joy. He's a seasoned veteran. He's the one who innovated a lot of innovations when he was with ESPN. You know, when I joined sports, he was the one everyone talked about. He ran the FIFA World Cup in India. He knows how he struggled. You had FIFA, but you didn't have the backing and the fandom that cricket brings. He's done volleyball. The league is doing really well, thanks to his professionalism. But again, it's not reached the scales where it could have reached, because it's an amazing sport, as you said. But it doesn't have the ability to monetize the way cricket does. It doesn't have the ability to, you know, put people on the edge and the kind of passion and enthusiasm that cricket generates. And that's why it stayed as long as it has.
Mayor Button, was the game of cricket tweaked for creating monetization space?
Definitely. I mean, you look at Test cricket. Most of us, I can speak for most of us, we still love watching Test cricket because we are the older generation. We love the pure form of cricket. You look at IPL. You look at. I was surprised with the league in South Africa. You had 65% of women and children in the stadium. Right. The same thing happens when the 100, the league in England. So that's what they've done. They've narrowed it down for, if you look at a movie in India, it's 3 hours. And that's what a T20 cricket is. So you look at the Olympics today, cricket it's there in the 28th Olympics, it'll be there in 32 because of Brisbane. It is T20. So they've shortened the format, they made it more appealing for children and women. Because if you look at same thing, when we were starting IPL, our biggest challenge was how do we because most houses in India are single TV households. How do you get, the remote is usually controlled by the mother or the wife of the house. How do you get the remote from her hand to the men or the children? And that's when IPL, or that's when the T20 format was created, because it just was faster. In today's generation where everybody wants to consume everything quickly, you want a result. I mean, Test cricket, you played for 5 days, you had no result. T20, the format is such that even if it's a tie, you have a super over, earlier you had a bowl out. So those are the kind of tweaks. The uniforms, I mean, today when a cricket in leagues, not so much as ICC global tournaments, but in league when a player walks out, he's like a Formula 1 driver. He's got branding everywhere, there's sponsorship everywhere. And it's pleasant to watch. And you know, I mean, my wife, she talks about, oh, I like the red color, I like the orange, I like the yellow. These are the kind of tweaks, these are small, fine refinements that they've done, which has made cricket very appealing.
Yeah, we benefit from all your sporting feats and your broadcast and monetization feats that you experience in India, because we are the next door neighbor. And we grew up watching the lousy signals of Doordarshan Bihar when it was a terrestrial broadcast, where we used to watch cricket matches where we never saw the ball in the entire game. Those days used to be a one-day or a test match. But now cut to the current situation in Nepal, where sports is just taking its first baby steps as a commodity in the broadcast market, where sports and sports people can be part of the monetization. For the benefit of the Nepalese audience, Bhaskarji, नेपालमा तपाईले एउटा डेडिकेटेड स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल को सुरुवात गरेको घोषणा गर्नुभयो आज। यो सम्भावना हो कि यो उमेर समूहको स्टार्टअप आइडिया हो, or you're trying to set up a record?
Thank you. Thank you, Bhushan. Actually, today in this session, I don't want to speak. I just want to hear from this legend. They have a more experience on that. Anyway, यसो उहाँहरूको कुरा पनि सुन्यौँ हामीले हैन जसरी हामीले कुरा गरिरहेका थियौँ नि हैन linear television is switching to digital, the form of digital OTT or other social platform मा शिफ्ट भइरहेछ र त्यो नेपालको हकमा त्यसको गति ऱ्यापिडली चेन्ज भइरहेछ एउटा कुरा अर्को कुरा हामीले लिनियर टेलिभिजनलाई हेर्नुपर्ने दुईटा च्यानल एउटा न्युज च्यानल लाइभ ब्रोडकास्टिङ र स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल हैन र हामी न्युजमा त छँदै थियौँ र अहिले न्युजको जुन टोटल एडभर्टाइजिङ रेभिन्यू जुन छ हामी करिबन 15 अरबको रेभिन्यू छ भनिरहेका थियौँ हैन कोरोनाभन्दा अगाडिसम्म तर अहिले त्यो रेभिन्यू घटेको छ 50% मा त्यो घटेको रेभिन्यू पनि मेन स्ट्रिम लिनियर टेलिभिजनबाट डिजिटलतर्फ शिफ्ट भइरहेछ त्यसमा पनि स्पेसली स्पोर्ट्स इभेन्टहरूमा चेन्ज भइरहेछ त्यो कारणले पनि हामीले एउटा नयाँ स्पोर्ट्स च्यानलको चाहिँ परिकल्पना गर्यौँ तर यो स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल हाम्रा लागि एउटा ट्रेड मात्र होइन जसरी हामी नै गएर चाहिँ फिफा वर्ल्ड कप ल्याएको थियौँ हैन 2004 मा हैन अनि 2 मा अनि त्यसपछि हामीले त्यसलाई ट्रेड गरौँ त्यसलाई एडभर्टाइजिङ रेभिन्यू उठायौँ हैन फर मी और फर अस दिस इज नट ओन्ली द स्पोर्ट्स ट्रेड opening a new sports channel. We want to build a sports ecosystem in Nepal. नेपालका लागि खेलकुद भनेको वास्तवमा खेलकुद मात्र होइन खेल र खेलाडीमा नेपालमा समस्या होइन नेपालमा समस्या खेलको नीति र लगानीमा हो हैन त्यो हुनाले खेललाई एउटा स्पोर्ट्स च्यानलले के गर्छ भने त्यसलाई पावर इन्हान्स गर्छ यसलाई शक्ति दिन्छ खेललाई र त्यसबाट एउटा इकोसिस्टम बिल्ड हुन्छ र त्यो इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट गर्नका लागि हामीले स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल हामीले परिकल्पना गर्यौँ सम्भवतः नेपालमा भर्खरै चाहिँ अरू ब्रोडकास्टरहरूले पनि स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल ल्याइरहेको तपाईँको प्रश्न ठिकै हो यो एउटा अर्को चाहिँ प्रतिस्पर्धा हो कि भन्ने विषयमा तर हामी अलिक भिन्न ढङ्गबाट किन सोचिरहेका छौँ भने एउटा च्यानललाई लन्च गर्ने वा त्यसमा चाहिँ इन्टरनेसनल महँगो चाहिँ स्पोर्टिङ इभेन्ट्सहरू ल्याउने त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसमा चाहिँ एडभर्टाइजिङ रेभिन्यू क्रिएट गर्ने मात्र हाम्रो उद्देश्य होइन हाम्रो उद्देश्य भनेको ओभरअल टोटल नेपाली स्पोर्ट्सको इकोसिस्टमलाई चाहिँ एक ठाउँमा ल्याउने नभएदेखि आजकै यो नेपाल स्पोर्ट्स समिट जुन छ यसमा हाम्रो यो तामझामका साथ यो गरेर पनि आवश्यकता होइन तर नेपालको राष्ट्रिय खेलकुदमा समर्पित यसका खेलाडीहरू खेल प्रशिक्षकहरू हैन खेलका नीति निर्माताहरू वा खेलमा लगानीकर्ताहरू र सञ्चार माध्यम हैन यी सबैको इकोसिस्टमलाई ठिक ठाउँमा ल्याउनु जरुरी थियो र अघि हामीले अरू सेसनमा पनि कुरा गरौँ कतिपय चाहिँ निश र मेन स्ट्रिम स्पोर्ट्सहरूको कुरा पनि छ कतिपय निश स्पोर्ट्सहरूलाई हामीले त्यसलाई एक्सपोज गर्नु छ त्यसलाई उजागर गर्नु छ हैन र कतिपय हाम्रो इन्टरनेसनल जुन स्पोर्टिङ इभेन्टहरू छ त्यो स्पोर्टिङ इभेन्टहरू चाहिँ हाम्रो सोभरेन राइट्स हुँदै पनि हैन त्यो ग्लोबल राइट्समा वा चाहिँ रिजनल राइट्समा वा इन्डिया र सब कन्टिनेन्टल राइट्समा गइरहेछ हैन बिकज अफ आवर स्क्विचिङ आवर मार्केट हाम्रो मार्केटको चाहिँ न्यारो डाउन भइरहेको हुनाले त्यो हुनाले त्यसलाई बृहत बनाउने उद्देश्यका साथ हामी आइरहेका छौँ
अब जसरी तपाईँले भन्नुभयो आई थिङ्क यु कम टु द राइट पार्ट अफ द कन्भर्सेसन countries like Nepal, because of our size, because of our population, and various other reasons, we don't have the rights of sovereignty. We don't have sovereignty over our rights. We basically get the second-hand rights from bigger markets like India and other parts of the world. सुदीपलाई म एउटा प्रश्न सोध्न चाहन्छु अब जसरी ग्लोबल मार्केट भएका खेलहरू जस्तै फुटबल क्रिकेट यी दुई स्पोर्ट्सको त हामीले एक्सपिरियन्सै गरिसक्यौँ वी आर अ भेरी ओल्ड कन्ज्युमर अफ फुटबल viewership, and we have developed our taste, we have developed a very strong team, and we have developed a very strong fan following for the sports of cricket, which is picking up. But if we want a sovereign right for these popular sports, we are basically shrugged off. You're not big enough, your market is not big enough, and mostly you succumb to that expulsion or expulsion, I would say, in many cases. Tapai being an advertising agency where you deal with the sport, its rights, and the business houses who would be probable sponsors for such events. As Bhaskar rightly said, the market is shrinking. But some say, no, it's not. We are not catering the right content to the right audience. Your experience, please. Yeah.
हामी स्पोर्ट्स कन्टेन्टहरुको जुन कुरा गरिरहेछौँ भर्खरै भास्कर दाइले हाम्रो मिडिया नेपालमा स्पोर्ट्स चाहिँ र हामी लाइभ टेलिकास्टमा फिफा वर्ल्ड कपहरुदेखि लिएर कसरी आयौँ र हाम्रो नेपालकै लोकल लिग फुटबलमा होस् हैन, त्यसपछि ग्रेजुअली हामी क्रिकेटमा जुन लेभलमा नेपालले लिगहरु ग्रो गर्दै आयो र भलिबल्समा अहिले पनि यो लिगहरु सुरु हुँदै गइसक्यो हुनाले आज स्पेशली हामी स्पोर्ट्स समिटमै बसिरा हुनाले हामी भर्खरै भास्कर दाइले मिडिया इन्डस्ट्रीमा बसिरहँदाखेरि नेपालको मिडियाको इकोनोमी चाहिँ अहिले हैन कहीँ न कहीँ यो डाउन साइजमा गयो भन्ने भन्दा हामीले के भन्दाखेरि भर्खरै कुरा गर्यौं मिडियाको कन्टेन्टले चाहिँ कति अडियन्सहरुलाई अक्वायर गरेर त्यसलाई चाहिँ स्क्रिनमा चाहिँ राख्न सकिरहेछ भन्ने कुराहरु चाहिँ मेजर पार्ट हो र नेपालमा ग्रेजुअली स्पोर्ट्स इभेन्टहरुलाई हामीले हेर्दै गयौं भने एभ्री स्पोर्ट्स इभेन्टले एभ्री इयर ग्रेजुअली 200% को ग्रोथमा चाहिँ नेपालमा स्पोर्ट्स इभेन्ट्सहरु अहिले सेल भएर आइरहेको सिचुएसन छ। लास्ट इयर त यो त ग्रेजुअली ग्रोथ त के हो भन्दाखेरि 700% को ग्रोथमा चाहिँ स्पोर्ट्स इभेन्ट नेपालमा आएको हुनाले हामी एज अ म एडभर्टाइजर र मिडियाको बीचमा हैन हामी एज अ कमर्सियल पार्टनरको रूपमा मिडिया र एडभर्टाइजरको बीचमा काम गर्दाखेरि स्पोर्ट्सलाई चाहिँ हामीले त्यति नेगेटिभ रूपमा हेरेर नगर अब बल्ल यो भन्दा अगाडि एउटा हैन एक स्पेशलाइज स्पोर्ट्स च्यानलमा आज सेकेन्ड स्पोर्ट्स च्यानल चाहिँ नेपालमा एनाउन्स भएको छ। स्पोर्ट्स भर्खरै भास्कर दाइले भन्नुभएको थियो लाइभ इभेन्ट्स यसमा चाहिँ यो लाइभले चाहिँ रन हुने भएको भएर स्पोर्ट्सले चाहिँ अडियन्सलाई चाहिँ अहिले जति इभेन्टहरु भइरहेछ डिजिटल प्लेटफर्ममै होस् या हैन हाम्रो ब्रोडकास्टिङको मेन स्ट्रिम प्लेटफर्महरुमा होस् नेपाली अडियन्सहरु एकदमै राम्रो इंगेजिङ भएको हामीले देख्या हुनाले यसको कमर्सियल भ्यालुमा चाहिँ हैन हामीले त्यहाँनिर कही पनि प्रब्लम देखिरहेको छैनौं र लास्ट इयरको यसलाई हेर्यौं भने एनपीएल को जुन हामीले त्यसको कमर्सियली भ्यालुज हेर्यौं भने एकदमै माथि गएको छ र यो भन्दा अगाडिका धेरै क्रिकेट इभेन्ट र फुटबल इभेन्ट्सहरु पनि नेपालमा राम्रोसँग गएको भनेर मैले देखिरहेको छु। तर यी राम्रो हुँदा हुँदै पनि हामीसँग नेपालको ब्रोडकास्टिङ इन्डस्ट्रीमा जो लाग्नु भएको छ र भास्कर दाइ आफै नै मिडिया एलायन्सेसको चाहिँ एज अ चेयरपर्सन बसिरहनु भएको छ। हामी के भनिरहेछौं भने नेपालमा आजको दिनमा सम्म पनि हैन हाम्रो छिमेकी देशका साथीहरु आउनु भएको छ मिडिया म्यापिङ म्याथोलोजी र हामीसँग म्याथड अहिले पनि हामीले क्रिएट गर्न सकिरहेका छैनौं।
ओके
हैन सबैभन्दा मेजर कुरा त के हो भन्दा हामीले नेशनल एडभर्टाइजर र इन्टरनेशनल एडभर्टाइजरहरुलाई हाम्रो अडियन्स म्यापिङ गरेर जुन दिनसम्म हामी दिन सक्दैनौं त्यो सम्म यसको भ्यालुलाई चाहिँ हामीले हैन ग्रेजुअली ग्रोथ गर्नलाई चाहिँ हामीलाई एकदमै गाह्रो कन्डिसन्सहरु अहिले यो इन्डस्ट्रीमा छ र मेरो रिक्वेस्ट के हो एडभर्टाइजर मिडिया र हाम्रो पार्टनर्सहरू सबैहरूलाई चाहिँ हामी म्यापिङको लागि कमसेकम रेटिङको लागि हैन एउटा एजेन्सिज हामीले डेभलप गर्यौँ भने इन्डिभिजुअल मिडिया बिजनेस र कन्टेन्ट बिजनेसहरू सबै अगाडि जान्छ जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ.
Bhushan, I just want to add one thing.
Please.
Actually, globally, I think the sports economy is around 3 trillion. It is 2% of the global economy. And India have also a very significant contribution from the sports economy. But in Nepal, we don't have. So we want to add that also. You know, one is if you're talking about the figures. तर नेपालको सन्दर्भमा यो मात्र होइन कि नेपालको सन्दर्भमा स्पोर्ट्स अघि हामीले कतिपय प्रेजेन्टेसन हेऱ्यौँ होइन पर्यटनसँग जोडिन्छ अरूसँग जोडिन्छ यावतसँग जोडिन्छ नि त्यो इकोसिस्टमलाई नै ठिक नगरिकन यो हामीले चाहिँ खेल खेलाडी लगानी मात्र भनेर यो अगाडि आउनेवाला छैन त्यसलाई एउटा त्यो पनि उद्देश्यमा त्यहाँ छ.
Let me inform our guests. We are talking about sports, but we've been doing all sorts of TV coverages for a very long time. We are almost 35, 36, 37 years into television broadcast. म फेरि हाम्रा दर्शकहरूसँग आन्तरिक रूपमा कुरा गर्न चाहन्छु. नेपालको ब्रडकास्ट मात्रै नभएर विभिन्न नयाँ इन्डस्ट्रिजहरू अथवा पुरानै इन्डस्ट्रिजहरू जसले नयाँ काम गर्न चाहन्छन् हामीका गलतफहमीहरू धेरै छ. हामी अलिकति फरक तरिकाले केही चिज गर्ने बित्तिकै देशको संसारको सर्वोत्कृष्ट चाहिँ नि पुरस्कारको भागीदारको सपना देख्न थालिहाल्छौँ. तर जसरी स्पोर्ट्स ब्रडकास्टको स्पेशलाइजेसनको कुरा गरिरहेछौँ त्यसको मोनेटाइजेसनको कुरा गरिरहेको छौँ स्पोन्सर्सको कुरा गरिरहेका छौँ कर्पोरेट इन्भल्भमेन्टको कुरा गरिरहेका छौँ तर जति हामीले लोकल स्पोर्ट्स कन्टेन्ट प्रोड्युस गरिरहेका छौँ we are not yet there in terms of coverage or we don't have the knack of covering the sports the way we need to cover them. So I think the biggest deficiency Nepal has at this moment is we have quite a few broadcasters who claim that we would be stepping into sports next, but we have not developed the knack of covering sports, which is a specialized form of coverage. So friends from India, if a team of Nepali broadcasters put together a team of Nepali technicians who would like to specialize their game into sports coverage, would there be any opportunity for Nepalese technicians to get trained in the neighborhood and get the benefit of the coverage that you have excelled thus far?
Good question. The first thing I'll tell you is that I have seen this journey from the other side. In 1996, when I joined Transworld International, TWI, which is the television wing of IEMG, to start doing Indian cricket football, I was one of only 3 or 4 Indians as a part of the crew. The entire crew was international. They'd come from UK, South Africa, all first world country crews. In 10-15 years, Indians gradually started taking over, and Dheeraj will tell you that by the time the IPL came, not only were Indian technicians doing everything, but Indian technicians now do a lot of the events around the world. So that journey is not difficult for you at all. That journey is not a problem. See what happens. Also, the second part has become easier. 30 years back, your cameras used to be that big. Your tripods used to be huge. Your control rooms were the size of this room, ballroom. Today, thanks to technology, your cameras are much smaller, you have remote cameras. Today, it is much easier for you to catch up with technology than it was 20 years before. With a little bit of help and guidance, you can have close to world-class broadcasting in Nepal with Nepalese technicians just being supervised a bit for the first couple of years. Then they don't need any supervision. I'm sure they're capable of it on their own. All you need to do is set the standards and put it. I'll tell you a very simple thing. You know, we were talking about cricket. Let me tell you, and I think he said it very well. Why is cricket so big? Because cricket is a perfect broadcast sport. He said one part of it. Cricket you watch, 1 hour, 1 over later as commercials. But do you know why cricket became big? I'll tell you. When you watch a cricket match, there is only 10 to 15 seconds of hot action. Let me explain by hot action. The bowler is coming to run into ball, he bowls. The batter hits the ball, or he misses, or the ball goes to some fielder, the fielder catches it, or it goes to the boundary. This entire time takes just 15 seconds.
Yes.
Okay? After that, what? The ball comes back, the umpire signals, the bowler goes back, maybe talks to his captain. Now, cricket, therefore, before replays came, was the most boring sport you could watch. Football was interesting because everything is happening. Cricket, you watch, okay, ball is over, now I'm sitting. Bowler will go back, he'll walk back. Now what happens? When I watch cricket, the ball comes, moment he hits it, ball, hot action's finished, then I see the bowlers run up. I see the ball from 3 angles. I see the bat hitting. I see the fielder diving.
Graphics.
I see the response. I see the graph. I see everything. So what has happened is technology has actually made cricket look much better than it is. Today, 90% of people tell you that it's great to watch in a field. But even when they watch in a cricket game, they like to see the replays here. Because you can't watch the 15 seconds of live action in 1.5 minutes of game is boring to watch, but technology has changed it. I'll leave you with one more point. Any sport you want to do, you can think global and become local. And by that I mean, you can get the FIFA World Cup, you can get a tournament, the IPL. Get your presenters, your Nepalese presenters around it. Make it relevant to the audience. Why is this match very important to me? Why are these players important? Give it to them in their language. And the last thing I'd say is, any sport, Dheeraj has made a very important point. In our part of the world, in South Asia, we don't follow sport. We follow stars. Okay? Ask yourself, any sport, how do I succeed? The simple way to say is, suppose I say football. How many people around the room know at least 5 names of the members of the national team? 5 Nepalese footballers. Similarly, 5 Nepalese women volleyball players. 5 cricketers. The moment they start knowing names, the moment they start seeing stars, they will start seeing dreams, it will change. And that, a large part of it is how a sports channel puts across its stars and how it builds it. And I'm very confident that you will do a fantastic job of it.
Totally agree. Again, I go back to the first IPL, and that was followed by the World Cup in 2011. We had, the first IPL, we had 4 Indians and about 200 people from England, Australia, South Africa, because they knew how to run cricket, we didn't. Same thing happened in 2011. Today, if you look at any tournament that happens in India, you look at IPL, you have 99.9% Indians. And I've seen, I mean, with Nepal, we follow sport, with your volleyball league, your cricket league, and other leagues that are coming. The more leagues you have here, again, the advantage Nepal has is you don't need to follow any big league. You don't need to follow an IPL model. What we did, when we started the IPL, obviously we used the best practices from NBA, from NFL, from the EPL. But that time there was no digitization of sport. It was just linear TV, right? Now you know exactly, as Joy pointed out, you know exactly which target to which audience to target where, and you already have that base made. So if you start your leagues, and I mean Nepal, there's a story to tell. I mean it's one of the prettiest. My first day today, but when I was landing the mountains, it's just such a pretty place. So you convert sports tourism into make it a part of your leagues. So people basically, and if it's broadcast globally, so you convert the viewers who are basically viewing TV or watching Nepal, then also come and start visiting the country. So it's a twofold thing that you do for Nepal. The more exposure you get, be it the broadcast, as Joy said, be it on the commentary panel or the hosts, the technicians, that's what everybody needs. And I mean, whether you get it through the leagues in India or you have your own leagues, it's not difficult to do.
So, in the last leg of our discussion, we cannot carry on for longer. Your dream of having a sports channel, would it just be a relaying station, or are you trying to invest on the manpower that we just discussed earlier?
I earlier mentioned that also, because we just don't want to be a regular sports channel who buy the rights and trade it. No, it is not only our objective. So we want to build the ecosystem of sports in Nepal. It means definitely we'll, in the second phase, we're going to form a group of the Nepali technicians who will cover the sporting event locally, because we have planned to have 20 to 25% of content purely from the Nepali. So for that ecosystem, you have to go and create a league and tournaments and also. So definitely we'll do that.
And Sudeep, before we conclude this session and just talk about the most followed games, today in our earlier panels, and there was a keynote speech that we witnessed, that we have specialized sports which actually could bear the Nepalese torch in the global sporting fraternity. What are your initiatives from the advertising point of view to knock the corporate doors of Nepal to promote such sports which has greater potentials but less talked about?
हामी अगाडिको देखि हेर्दा हामीले भनिहाल्यौँ हैन, एडभर्टाइजरले जहिले पनि के भन्दाखेरि न्यू एक्सपेरिमेन्टल एरियाजहरुमा उसले इन्भेस्टमेन्ट गर्नलाई खोजिरहेको हुन्छ। र नेपालमा अहिले कुरा गर्यौं भने स्पोर्ट्सको जुन रेशियोमा चाहिँ अहिले यसले आफूलाई ग्रो अप गरिरहेछ हैन, यसलाई हामी सबै प्लेटफर्महरुदेखि लिएर इन्डिभिजुअल यसको अर्गनाइजरहरु सम्मलाई भन्यौ र यसलाई चाहिँ मिडिया इन्डस्ट्रीहरुले अहिले जुन रूपमा ब्याकिङ गर्न खोजिरहेको छ, त्यसमा मैले देखेको हामी मेजर इन्टरनेसनल उसमा चाहिँ जति प्लेटफर्ममा फुटबल क्रिकेटहरुको कुराहरु मात्रै गरिरहेछौं, त्यो लेभलमा हामीले हाम्रो अघि पनि स्पेस हेर्यौं, हाम्रो आफ्नो आउटडोर्सको धेरै इभेन्ट्सहरु नेपालमा हुन सक्छ भन्ने कुरा यो भन्दा अगाडिहरु पनि हामीले देखिहाल्यौं। ती सबैमा एसोसिएट हुनलाई हामीसँग डोमेस्टिक ब्रान्डहरुसँग पनि हामीसँग त्यतिकै स्पेसहरु छ। र हामीलाई दुर्भाग्य के भइराछ भने मल्टिनेसनल्स ब्रान्डहरुलाई नेपालमा ल्याउनका लागि हैन, यो भन्दा अगाडि हामीले जुन क्लीन फिडको पोलिसिज नेपाल गभर्नमेन्टले ल्याएर मल्टिनेसनल्स एडभर्टाइजरहरुलाई मल्टिनेसनल्स ब्रान्डहरुलाई नेपालमा आउन र नेपालमा काम गर्नका लागि चाहिँ नेपालमै कमर्सियल्सहरु डेभलप हुनुपर्छ हैन। यो भन्दा बाहिरका कमर्सियल्सहरु नेपालमा आउनु पर्यो भने हामी साइक्लिङ हाइकिङका कुराहरु गर्यौं भने बाहिरका ती ब्रान्डहरुलाई यहाँ आउनलाई हामीले नै कहीं न कहीं हैन त्यो हाम्रो पोलिसीले ग्याप गरिदिरहेको छ के। त्यो ग्यापलाई हामीले म्यानेज गर्न सक्यौं भने हैन, मैले स्पोर्ट्स भित्रका अन्य धेरै इभेन्ट्सहरुलाई हैन हाम्रो एडभर्टाइजरको पोइन्टबाट र हामी एड एजेन्सीजको लाइनबाट हेर्यौं भने हामी त्यसलाई चाहिँ एउटा लेभलमा प्रमोट गर्न सक्छौं। र त्यो गर्दा गर्दै अघि कुरा गर्दा हामीले धेरै मेजर ब्रान्डहरुमा हैन अहिले बीचमा अलिकति चाहिँ हामी प्लेयर्सहरुलाई हैन, हामीले खेलाडीहरुलाई चाहिँ एज अ ब्रान्ड एम्बेसडरको रूपमा कहीं न कहीं केही रूपमा चाहिँ प्रयोग चाहिँ गर्यौं हैन। तर अझ धेरै गर्ने स्पेस हुँदाखेरि पनि मिडियालाई हामीले अलि इन फ्रन्टमा ल्याएर काम गर्न सक्यौं भने इन्डिभिजुअल अडियन्ससँग पनि उहाँहरुलाई हामीले कुनै एउटा लेभलमा टच गराउन सक्यौं भने चाहिँ यसमा चाहिँ अझै धेरै प्राइभेट सेक्टरबाट इन्भेस्टमेन्टहरु आउँछ र त्यो इन्भेस्टमेन्टलाई पुलिङ गर्नलाई चाहिँ हामी एजेन्सीजहरु सबै लाग्छौं भन्ने मेरो विश्वास हो।
Okay. Now, in the end, Nepal being the potential hosting venue for many sports around the world, as we discussed in our earlier panels that our infrastructure is not in place, our political turmoil has not complemented to utilize our venue space for international sporting events. Our planning lacks. There are a list of deficiencies, but at the same time, we as a country and we as a race, people, I think we're ready for hosting events in Nepal, especially cricket. If not, if we upgrade or tweak our infrastructure, football could, for that matter, and a lot of international adventure sports. We are just made for it. So, in conclusion, what is the impression that you've made thus far in your first trip, and what you've learned about Nepal in your, days of serving the sporting fraternity in India?
So I can just say two things, First is that I look around in the room and, two of the things that struck me, that the kind of interest in this discussion and the fact that half the discussion was also in Nepalese, which makes a difference because the idea is to take everyone in the hall along with you. I'll tell you just one secret. You don't need to do 20 things well. It doesn't happen ever. Do one tournament well. One volleyball tournament or one cricket tournament or one football tournament. Say, I will do this to the best possible standards I can. One tournament. Do one tournament well. India's sporting game changed with IPL. One tournament. It changed the standards from 20% to 90% in one tournament. Once you do that one tournament well, everything else that will follow, you've set a standard for others to follow. So all I'm saying is, don't worry about, there will always be problems. I'll tell you a very simple thing. When you look at football World Cups, South America has won 10 World Cups, okay? Now, we can turn around and tell European countries, oh, they have much more money than us, they have facilities, they have infrastructure. You go to South America, what infrastructure? Pele, Neymar, they learned football on the streets of Rio. They learned on the streets. So, what you require is passion. What you require is to do one thing, one thing, very well. And don't try to do 20 things together. It doesn't work. Do one thing well. You have the passion as a nation. You're a sporting nation, basically. All you need to do is set yourself one standard that you can follow. That's my theory.
Dheeraj, your concluding remarks.
My thing is, global attention doesn't come from size. It comes from distinctiveness. You need to define your narrative. You need to own the narratives. As Joyce said, you've got youth, you've got unique sports, you've got the beauty of Nepal, you've got energy, you've got the diaspora. These are the people you attract. You do a lot of friendlies. You don't have to, you can attract the best teams. Like, for instance, when the World Cup's happening in India, if FIFA is doing something, attract those teams to come and play friendlies, grow the sport, grow the reach, and I think there's nothing stopping you then.
Bhaskar, your concluding remarks.
No, I think we miss one issue of media monetization. I think I want to listen from gentlemen because they have more exposure on that. Media monetization and media digitalization.
So I think what's happened is today you are in a much better position to monetize than you ever were. Because digitalization has created a situation where you know exactly where your audiences are sitting. What has also happened, I'll tell you, is that now you can go to in different languages. So you can have an English feed, you can have a Nepali feed, you can have different feeds in different languages. You can have a feed which is for younger people with a particular style of commentary which is specially meant, say, for Gen Z people and beyond. So what happens now is that if this is the media market, every time that you look at an advertiser segments it. I am BMW, I want to talk to these people. Or I'm a FMCG brand, I want to talk to this. Today, thanks to digitalization and technology, you can actually say, okay, this particular feed with these commentators is going to these places, specifically in Kathmandu and the bigger cities, and this is how it's going to work. So what is happening today is technology is now giving you that ability to be able to pinpoint and target audiences for advertisers. And the day advertisers know that, okay, this is really directly reaching my advertising, he's going to obviously put in more money there. That's one. The second is, you can't just say that I'll take an event and put it out, because at some point you need to create your own Nepalese IPs. That means your own intellectual property. This is a show that is only that you own. So then what happens is, tomorrow when rights prices change, that show will always remain yours. So the more such shows you can create, creating IPs and basically segmenting audiences are the key to media monetization.
I'll give you my example. When I was with the CEO of Delhi Capitals, we had Sandeep Lamichhane with us for 3 years. And suddenly we noticed, and there was the boom of Instagram and social media, and suddenly we started doing a lot of content using him. And we had over 1 million followers from Nepal following Delhi Capitals only because of one person. So it's how you, as again, I keep because Joy is the master in this. As Joy said previously, it's about you creating something unique. It's about you being distinct. It's about you creating your heroes. It's about you nurturing local talent. And that's what will help grow the industry.
Because in Nepal, the linear audience are shrinking, and digitally massively, because compared to India, Nepal's audience is transformation in the digitalization more in terms of the population. So that is the main issue here. So simultaneously, we should go for OTT and other social platforms.
You must do both. You cannot only do linear anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, but you got to do both.
Well, actually,
no one over the other.
I deliberately avoided the issue of monetization because I think it was a better topic for a drink in the evening. So I was getting a lot of monetization ideas when these two gentlemen were talking about their Indian landscape. We're not yet there. So I think if we have a very organic formula for our coverage and reaching out to the audience, I think monetization would surprise India per capita. So this can go on forever. My dear friend Suraj is at his onset. So let me thank you, gentlemen, for gracing this session. Thank you very much for making me learn a little more about sports, because that's the least I've worked on in my association with broadcast all these years. I've not covered sports much. I've talked to sports people, sports managers, but that's it. I'm not much of a sportsman, but I'm a great sports fan for television broadcast of sports. So thank you very much, Sudeep, for your advertising insight vis-a-vis Nepal. And I wish you have a great trip, the remaining part of your trip to Nepal, and we wish you to welcome many more times in terms of business and pleasure.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure being here.
Thank you very much.
And it's our turn to extend our bit of gratitude for this very, very insightful and very, very enriching panel. Thank you so much for walking us through this issue of central importance for the summit that we've put forth in front of you. And now to extend our gratitude, I request the president of Avenues Network, Mr. Bhaskar Raj Karnikar. We are so thankful and grateful to each and every panelist here for the value that they have added by being a part of this, and for their very, very insightful and very enriching views. And आदरणीय महानुभावहरु, यो एकदमै केन्द्रीय महत्त्वको सेसन थियो। यो यति बृहत विषय हामीले जति समय दिएर समेटे पनि यो सकिँदैन, बिकज स्पोर्ट्स ब्रोडकास्ट मिडियाको लागि पनि धेरै चुनौतीपूर्ण विषय हो, किनकि यसको ग्रामर इज सो डिफरेन्ट एन्ड भेरी च्यालेन्जिङ। र नेपाल इज स्टिल वेटिङ फर इट्स गेम चेन्जिङ मोमेन्ट, एज द प्यानलिस्ट सेड, बट द प्रोसेस हेज अलरेडी बिगन long ago. Right? And with the advent of Avenue Sports, we are like getting all geared up to ascend newer heights. So may I invite all the members of the panel to kindly come center stage for a quick photo op. Thank you one more time. Let's hear a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, thank you to Mr. Bhushan Dahal, to Mr. Joy Bhattacharya, Mr. Bhaskar Raj Karnikar.
Nepal Sports Summit at the top of the world.